Hello and welcome back to my cinematic Unity series. I've decided to return to the front report video one more time because I wanted to show you how you can turn this screen event into a virtual reality event, experience, whatever you want to call it. A couple of things you need to know. In the project folder from Reeltime Recorder, you can find a couple of scripts. One of them is this VR on-off script, which I find extremely useful. It's just a very short script, and all it does for you is switch between using a VR camera or a non-VR camera. Because once VR is activated in the system and you hit play up here, then it will automatically go into VR every time. Now, you may not always want that. Sometimes you just want to look at a scene from a certain angle, or you just want to try something out and you don't want to have to put the head-mounted display on, take it off again, put it on again. So this script is very useful. You just say use no VR camera and play, and it'll stay in screen mode. The other thing I wanted to show you is another script, which is here in the Playmaster. I have to wait a moment. Okay, there's a video going. And in the Playmaster, there's a master time. Now, this master time can be used to pause at a given moment in time, and even to restart the video if you want. This is very useful if you're going to determine where you want to put your VR camera rig. I'm going to turn this off again. The camera rig is really a basic rig as it comes from SteamVR, which is something, of course, that you need to download. You're going to need SteamVR. And the camera rig is basically the SteamVR rig plus 2 cameras instead of 1. And on each controller, I have an RC laser pointer script. The RC laser pointer script delivers the kind of information that I need for the rig mover, which I'm going to look at in a moment. First, why do we have 2 cameras? Well, if you're in VR, you can afford to have everything a little bit darker than when you're on screen. See, on screen, I'm using this layer post-processing for the post-processing stack. And on the VR camera, I'm using the post-processing VR layer. You might remember there's layers. Actually, I can't get at it from here, but from there. See, there's 2 layers now, a post-processing layer and a post-processing VR layer. It's only using one of those at the same time, not both. Either it's in VR mode, and then it will use one, or in non-VR mode. The layers are here, post-processing VR and non-VR. In non-VR, I use effects like, post-exposure. I make it lighter, because on screen it has to be lighter than in the head-mounted display. And I can afford to use depth of field. Now, in the VR version, depth of field, A, it doesn't work at all in Unity, it's broken. And B, it's really wrong in Unity, in VR. So I'm not using it at all. And I can switch between those 2 modes by just one click using this VR on-off script. Next thing I want to show you is the rig mover. The rig mover can record something. It can record positions where the camera is supposed to be at a given time. Now let me just set the Playmaster to pause, and then of course I have to remember to activate the VR camera. And now I'll present you with the rig mover. Okay, I'm in VR now, and as you can see, there's the controller. And if I press down the trigger, I can move around. So I can pick a starting point, which of course I could have recorded. I didn't say record, but I can record it. And then I hit the menu button, and everything starts moving. And then let's say I would want to change position again. I would hit the menu button again, pick a new place to watch this from, hit the menu button, and it will record that new position for that time. And then I could change position again, etc. Anyway, you get the idea. So if you want to record this, of course, you should not have do nothing, you should have record. And if you want to play it back, you will not only get the positions that you recorded, but you will also, which is something you don't see on the screen, get a fade to black and, well, into and out of black. So the change of position is not abrupt, but you fade into black and then you come out of black in the new position. But this is something you only see in the head-mounted. There's one thing you need to know, which is explained in the manual here, but I really need to tell you, otherwise you will wonder, why isn't this working for me? There's one thing you need to do. When you load SteamVR, in the project settings already, you get, let me just open this up a little bit. So, like this. In the project settings, you get XR settings. Here, virtual reality supported will be turned on automatically for you. But in order to use the VR functionality in the Reeltime Recorder, you also have to set a define, which is this one here, the last one. It's RC_use_VR. And before that, you need to put a semicolon, because it's a list of defines and they're separated by semicolon. And once you do that and hit enter, the compiler will have to recompile every single line of code in the project. And so that could take a while. But that's important, otherwise nothing's going to work. The rig mover is not going to move, nothing's going to happen. Because that's all for VR, and that has to be enabled. Okay, that's really all I wanted to tell you. Have fun with the Reeltime Recorder, and we'll talk again in the next Cinematic Unity.